I don't believe that you have to be either creative or commercial. I do believe there is a place where you can be both.
Change is the heartblood of fashion. If nothing changed in fashion, and certainly in the front row, it should change also.
I think every fashion creator, producer is coming up with a different solution.
O Iguatemi São Paulo recebeu alguns dos maiores nomes do mundo da moda para a comemoração de seus 50 anos no evento Fio da Meada. Eu vou entrevistar agora alguns desses grandes personagens do mundo da moda que vieram para São Paulo nessa comemoração. Hi, Cecilia.
Hi.
Hello, Suzy.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Welcome to Brazil.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be back.
I have some questions for you.
I know.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's go. I was hearing your lecture this morning and I was so impressed by the way you kept your focus on art and creativity, not being commercial for 25 years. How did you manage not to fall into any trap and keep your artistic soul for this long?
You know, I don't think there's anything bad about being commercial. I guess it depends on how you define being commercial. And for us, you know, we work with sponsors, usually very big brands. And they work with us because they want to support creativity, they want to be associated with artists or with a particular concept or a theme or format. And I think we've managed to create a really nice relationship where it's partly commercial because I am working with the brand, and yet they allow me and my partner and our team at Visionaire to do something very, very creative. And it benefits both of us because the sponsor's gonna want to have a good product. Obviously, I wanna have a good product. And so we're all working together to make something really interesting that people will want to look at. And at the end of the day, that's what you wanna do. You wanna produce a really great product that people want to experience. And so I feel like we've managed to find that balance between the two things.
Now you're doing fashion films and you're interacting with more people. It used to be very, very exclusive and very, very on demand, and everybody wanted, and there were just these few copies in print. What is this evolution you're doing, and why do you want to talk to more people?
You know, again, it's like my partner James Caliardos and I really work on gut instinct and on personal desire. And you know, in the beginning when we started Visionaire, it had to be small and exclusive because we didn't have any money, so we couldn't do a lot. And then as it evolved, the productions became more ambitious, so we couldn't do many because it was very expensive to do. As I think about it right now, maybe we have always wanted to talk to a larger audience. We just couldn't with the particular medium that we had, which was Visionaire. But what Visionaire was how it worked for us was we realized like we're so into art and fashion and experience, and those are things that you can explore in every medium. So you can still do art, fashion, and experience in film, you know, on video, digital, online, in a public space, in an art gallery, in a mall, like whatever. Like you can still take those three tenets, which are very important to us, and adapt it to anything, really.
How did you manage to keep focus and relevance to make a move online? I know you joined Instagram not so long ago, and how has it been?
In this case, I think that you're talking about somebody who, you know, for me, it's all about what I write, not how I write. And words are words. I mean, in the old days, they used to scribble them on stones, and now we have it all on the internet. It's just the same thing, though.
Your career at American Vogue for so many years,
Yes.
when the magazine was everything, and now the magazine has so many platforms and
Yes.
so many ways to communicate fashion. How have you managed to remain relevant, and what have you changed in the way you do things?
Vogue as a brand moving into all kinds of different areas, and I think you know, you can't think anymore in a linear way. You have to think of the whole sense around experience of fashion and style and what different areas that touches, that it's so incredible to me to think back to my days as a fashion student at St Martin's in London, when you had to kind of trick your way into fashion shows and pretend to be the makeup artist's assistant or whatever, or carrying a model's handbag or sneaking in with a photographer or whatever it might have been. Now everything is immediate, and that's a two-edged sword. I think what anyone obviously can set themselves up as a blogger or a pundit. I think with all this noise out there, you have to emerge as the sound and the voice that people want to listen to.
That. In the next 25 years, you'll be 50 years old, like Iguatemi. What do you see for the future?
It's a hard question. I didn't even predict reaching 25 years with Visionaire, so the idea of reaching 50 years is inconceivable. I feel like I work very much in the present. It's always about now, it's current. And of course we're looking forward to what we want to pursue and explore in the future, but I cannot look 50 years in advance. I think I would become paralyzed if I was thinking about that. So I have no idea what's going to happen in the next 25 years.
Yeah. And what do you see in the future of fashion for the next 50 years? It's hard to say, but what do you see for the future? Where are we going?
I mean, what is the future of fashion? I think I'm there to report it, not to know it. But I certainly think that one thing which is really good, which we haven't really talked about, is the fact that now anybody can be involved in fashion. Fashion used to be such an exclusive thing. Now fashion is for everybody. And certainly I think that with everything that happens online, you can go on YouTube and learn faster how to fix your makeup than you can if you go into a store. That's all very exciting. It's all about newness. And I think it's all to the good of fashion.
Where do you see fashion going for the next 50 years? I know we're living such a right now moment.
We live in an incredible moment, and I think it's difficult to predict where fashion is going to go in 5 months, to be absolutely honest.
Yes.
And why not? I mean,
there are no rules anymore.
There are no rules, and that's very, very exciting. And I think it's just going to get even more fluid, to be honest. Technology will bring. I mean, I think, with the whole idea of body mapping and 3D printing, I think is going to be the haute couture of the future. Things that are totally second skin specific to your body. I think the possibilities of that are just phenomenal to imagine. I think every platform of fashion is going to change. The way it's communicated, the way it's produced, the way it's disseminated, the way it's sold, bought, fitted.
How do you perceive Brazil? I feel it's a moment where we need to show ourselves more to the world, and I think our creatives are not confident enough to be out there in New York, in London and Paris. And what do you see about Brazil that you think should be out there?
Yeah, I think Brazil is an amazing country. Obviously, I've seen very little of Brazil. I mean, I know mostly Sao Paulo and Rio, and I've been to Bahia. I've always had such a great time here. First of all, I think the people are really lovely, but there's such a vibrant art scene. It is so creative and fascinating, the art that's coming out of Brazil, which has been coming out of Brazil for decades. Like, this is not a new thing. And they're international stars. You have the Sao Paulo Biennale, which is, I think, the second oldest biennale in the world. So, there's a huge history of creativity here. And I think a lot of the artists do export or, internationally known. And you have one of the most incredible institutions ever, which is CESC. We don't have anything like that in the United States. It's really incredible. And that's something that is working so well. I wish that could be exported to the rest of the world.
What do you think our designers have to offer to the world that's so unique, and you think that...
You're going to hate me here, because I'm going to say that I don't think there is anything as a national identity. I think even in Paris, not all the designers are alike. So I think you've got different strands. You've certainly got handwork strand, which is really fantastic. Some of the work that I see that are done by human hands are breathtaking. And I think you've got, especially here in Brazil, you've got a lot of people who you can call to do these things. Sense of colour is something else. It's artistic rather than handwork, but still very strong. I mean, in terms of the art, in terms of everything that happens in Brazil and in Rio, perhaps I should say.
Yes.
Then I think also there are certain things which are very interesting, perhaps a particularly high consciousness of what is good for the planet. In other words, thinking very carefully about the kind of cloth you're using, all these things. So it seems to me that there are various strands and different designers take up the different ones.
And what do you think our qualities, our strengths in fashion as design?
Well, the things that I have responded to, and I have to preface this by saying that I don't have a really in-depth knowledge of Brazilian fashion, but what I've been exposed to and what I've seen, what I've also loved is the whole kind of artisanal aspect of Brazilian fashion, taking very traditional Brazilian handcrafts even and techniques of making clothes or embellishment and using them in an exciting way for fashion. That's always what I traditionally loved from the more kind of traditional evening wear designers to younger, more experimental designers. And I think everyone is looking for something special and personal and something that has a human touch to it. And to me, that spirit of Brazilian craftsmanship really, and traditional artisanal crafts used in fashion really speaks to that desire.
What do you think is the most interesting thing happening in fashion these days? I know you travel the globe, meeting and interviewing designers, watching fashion shows. What inspires you today? Where's the change? Where's the shiny glimpse you look for?
I think that fashion always responds and is sometimes earlier than changes in the world. And I know it sounds ridiculous to say that because of what's happening in the world, you get a company like Vêtements, which goes back to very basic kind of clothes. But there is a certain truth here. We've seen that in terms of politics. We've seen a lot of countries, including in Europe, in America, you see that there is a whole groundswell of what you might call ordinary people, although I wouldn't really call them that. And so I think the effect is to make fashion less fancy and more down to earth, down to sidewalk level. And so I think that is very important for a journalist to look out for. But in general about change, change is one of those things when you look at fashion shows that you know it when you see it. You're sitting there thinking, I hope it's going to be a good show. Yes. And then suddenly you get something that lights up and you just know, and it moves your heart and it's interesting. Other times, even with a great designer, you sit there thinking, oh, was that it?